Alongside Rick Lee, track handicapper, I'm Jim Byers. Welcome to our simulcast feed from Lone Star Park, our beautiful new paddock set. We're here to analyze today's 10 races. We're going to have to move it along. So, Rick, we got carryovers in the Super High 5, the Pick 5, the 6-shooter as well. You'll see those displayed at times on our screen. So let's get on to the races. A number of scratches today. We'll pass those along as we go. In the opening race, scratch the 7, Roll On Curlin. Scratch the 11, Malibu Jack. The first race, 5/8 on the turf. We're fast and firm today. Beautiful weather. Non-winners of 3 here in the first.
Yeah, my best long shots in this very first race, the number 9, Old Tradford, who I laid 6-1 up there at 19-1 at the moment. You don't get Todd Fincher at 19-1 very often, though I'm quite sure the odds will go down. Hasn't raced since September. The horse was running very well at Albuquerque, showing good speed in main track sprint races. Really good record. Bred really to be a turf horse. They tried this 4-year-old on turf one time, and to me that's easy to excuse. It was a 2-turn maiden special weight at Del Mar. I think with the pedigree, excellent trainer, Old Trafford, tremendous value right now on the board in the first race. My second selection is a 3, Soul Ready, who should take a lot of money. Beaten only a neck in a maiden and an entry-level allowance at Houston, just 2 starts back. And last time out had traffic trouble on the turn, so he should run a really good race in here. He's already run faster than the Beyer par of 69. And then the 2, who's up there at 6-5 at this moment, comes off a main track race. So again, I drew a line through that race. Defeated non-winners of 2 for 15 by nearly 4 lengths in a turf sprint at Houston. Good recent work here on the main track at Lone Star Park. So to me, this is a really nice race. But Old Tradford at a big price, I mean, to me, that's a really good wager.
Yeah, I have Old Trafford third as well, coming off the bench after racing in Albuquerque last fall. I know that it's early and there might not be a lot of money in the pools yet. It's hard for me to fathom how Jody's Angel is 6-5 and Soul Ready is 9-5, but that'll undoubtedly adjust. I went with the favorite in here, even though I have turned over a new leaf and am trying to handicap with the why not attitude instead of just having to have 8 check marks in my favor before I pick a horse. And Soul Ready to me, though, I mean, you know, the Dam was a wonderful mare. This horse has a brother, Sherrills Ready, who won on this turf course. This horse loves this turf course, usually gives a very good account of himself. So I went with him on top. Going with a favorite here in this first race, but I have Jody's Angel second, obviously. Seems to have found a home sprinting on the turf. And definitely agree about Old Trafford. Aries Celestic Man ran an interesting race a couple of races ago, going 9 furlongs in the Richard King, a really good turf race at Sam Houston. Came back into a sprint last time and didn't run particularly well, but he's got speed that can always be dangerous as well. Now, the second race has been affected by scratches. Second race, scratch the 5, Macho Bling, scratch the 6, Papa Molly, and scratch the 8, who profiled as the solid favorite, Good Ride Cowboy. I was actually picking against Good Ride Cowboy. Let's go to some video here and watch Moro Trump, who's now going to be a heavy favorite by default, I would think. But Moro Trump is the 1A in this race we're going to watch from Sam Houston. Red Silks. He got off to just an atrocious start, and he's going to be making up a lot of ground along the inside. He's racing about 4 or 5 lengths off the lead. He's moving off the fence now. He's 1 off the rail. You see it's a real cavalry charge in the upper stretch. He's the 1A. He's got Red Silks. He's going to come. It gets a little tight there inside the furlong marker. Now, these front 2, Rick, they're going to go off and win. I mean, there's no way Moro Trump's going to win this race at this point. But from the 16th home, I like the way he finished. I was going to take a shot with him over Good Ride Cowboy, who always races on his wrong lead through the stretch and is starting to develop seconditis. But Good Ride Cowboy is going to sit this one out. So.
Yeah, that race looked really good on paper last, and then it looks like he was getting swallowed up by the 2 leaders, and he kept on really strongly. And Renee Lafleur, the trainer, who I don't know a lot about, but is having a terrific season here. I thought Imperial Flyer was the only horse in here that deserves to take some money. Sprinted well at Lone Star Park as a 2-year-old, narrowly beaten in a maiden special weight in its debut, then finished a competitive 4th in the Texas Stallion. given a lot of time off, returned at Houston, was slow to get into form. Last 2 races at a mile, though, led for nearly 6 furlongs, the distance of today's race. Now taking a big drop in class, cutting back to a sprint distance, which, again, certainly seemed to like as a 2-year-old. So Imperial Flyer, to me, is the only one with a shot in here to upset Moro Trump. And Tenacious Lion, just because he showed really good early speed. It is a 5-year-old, though, with only 1 race in the last couple years.
Yeah, Frank Lucarelli's off to a good start here this meet and had a race to Houston this year. That's another reason to think about Tenacious Lion underneath. But, yeah, Moro Trump, I liked him already in this race with the heavy favorite, and I like him a lot more now as far as the chance to win. The odds are going to be interesting to watch on that one. Third race. I think there's lots of question marks in here, lots of droppers. This is a bottom-level maiden claimer, 5.5.
Yeah, these are the races. There's more upsets at the bottom maiden classification than any other classification, generally speaking. Haley Steelman, Austin Gustafson's going to win a ton of races and at a high percentage. Sprinted last fall at Remington Park in maiden special weight races. Dropped down into a maiden claimer and probably needed to start off the Houston campaign, finishing 4th. Now drops all the way down to rock bottom. The 46-3 work here on April 16th kind of tells me that this horse is ready to run his best race. And if he runs a little bit better than he's run previously, then he'll be a major player here. The 6, My Congrats, tried a turf sprint last time out and ran okay. The main track races, though, at Houston, as you can see, 2/3 and a second-place finish, beaten at 4-5 in his most recent race on the main track. Consistent, good early speed. Iram Diego, a really good rider down here. So My Congrats could prove very difficult to catch. And Congo's Tail, we've mentioned this many times over the years, Jim. A horse runs at Oaklawn. It doesn't seem to matter where they finish. They come down here, and they tend to run well. You get the added bonus of first-time Lasix with this second-time starter for J.R. Caldwell.
Plus, Congo's Tail broke bad, broke outward and slowly, which is never a good sign. Plus, he had the outside post in that race. So if you're breaking outward and you're breaking slowly, you're going to be out there detached. I treat that race like a workout. He was 26-1, appeared to be in over his head. I just threw that out completely. I ranked him second here. I'm actually taking Diego's horse, My Congrats, on top. I think he could be up on the engine here. In a race like this, I think you probably said this in the past. It's probably where I got it from. At least put me in front. At least give me the lead for a while. If it's a bottom-level maiden claimer and none of them have done a whole lot, take the horse that's in front for a while maybe and hope for the best. And I think this horse has a chance to do that. Sanjay Ovasi would beat these running backwards if this were a turf race, but I'm just afraid that he's gotten to the point where they don't write turf races for his level anymore. So I threw him out basically. But My Congrats, I'm going to make him a choice just for the speed factor over Congo's Tail. Full respect to Haley Steelman. I mean, the old Jim of last year and the year before would have definitely jumped all over him, but trying to turn over a new leaf. And it's worked okay through the first 3 days. We'll see how it holds out. So we'll shoot for a 6-1-3 in that race and see what happens. On to the 4th. 5/8 on the turf. Scratch the part of the entry, the 1A, It's Not My Job.
Yeah, very good race here. I went with NJ's Brass for J.R. Caldwell. It's won 3 of her last 5 races. The last one was a turf sprint at Houston at a slightly higher classification than this one, 1/2. Goncalves keeps the call in here. Just really good form. So that's a logical mare for me. The 7, Cypress Point, is really interesting. Claimed last time after finishing 4th behind NJ's Brass. Claimed by Gustafson, who's really good. 23% winners off the claim. You can see last year in turf sprints at Lone Star Park was very good. Won an $20,000 optional claimer. Won a straight $20,000 claimer. So this mare really likes the turf course at Lone Star Park. And then let's go to the 6, Farif's Sake, who has won consecutive races at Houston, a condition claimer, then wins that one other than. The concern here, not that he's a good finisher. That's actually something to like. I like the record. But Goncalves, I assume, chose to ride NJ's Brass since they're both trained by Caldwell. He rode them both recently. So to me, that's always a good tiebreaker. When a rider's on 2 contenders, he chooses one over the other.
And it does appear that Goncalves, when he rides for Caldwell, fares much better. I mean, they're a 26% win combo when they're together. Nothing against Ezekiel Alada. He's having a good year, but he's only 3% when he rides for Caldwell. So that indicates to me that Lara doesn't get the type of Caldwell stock that Goncalves does. I dealt with that when I was analyzing this as well. You know, I went with a horse that's not even in your picks. I went with the 3 Delicious Pursuit. This is a $15,000 claimer. This horse last time out won for 10 at Houston and was claimed by Bob Young out of that race. Delicious Pursuit loves turf and loves sprinting. I mean, 8 for 20 at this distance on the grass. And the interesting thing about her is, I mean, I don't know what the deal is. I mean, she's been with a lot of barns, but this is her 7th race at 7 different tracks. And not all just in this region. I mean, Pimlico, Indiana, Fairgrounds, Arlington, Belterra. How many Belterra turf sprinters show up here? Not many, but she's well-traveled, fairly well-accomplished, speedy. So I'm going to go with her here in this 4th race over Cypress Point, a former Broberg runner who has always loved this turf course. And then NJ's Brass, total respect for her, but I have her 3rd. On to the 5th. Well, our picks kind of took it on the chin in this 5th race, but hey, there's still a lot of opportunities here. 5.5 furlongs, very competitive race, fillies and mares. Scratch the 2 10 Hurdles, who was my original top pick. Scratch the 5 Metallic Silver, which was Rick's original top pick.
Yeah, I had written contentious on the top of this race. It still is, because this race could have been won by many. The 8, Linda Got Lucky, is now my top selection. Just the fact the fastest buyer figure in this race was earned by her just 2 races back at Fairgrounds in a maiden win, winning by 7 1/2 lengths. Claimed last time out by Terry Oaf. If he can keep this filly going well, she can win. But again, this is a race where I would tread lightly. The 10 Oh My Oh is my next pick. Has not raced since April of 2020. That's a concern. The good news is, though, it's a significant drop in class, and Robertino Diodoro's the trainer. You don't see a lot of sparkling works coming back off the bench here, but Diodoro's, outstanding horseman. He spots them where they can win. Obviously, on class, she, is right there. And DM now is the 11. That's my next selection. Has finished in the money in 3 of 4 races. Always forwardly placed for J.R. Caldwell. His go-to riders aboard. Again, figures look good. This race is still very competitive, even though the horses I like most are out.
Yeah, I agree. DM now becomes my top pick. She was originally 3rd on my selections. 3-year-old facing some older rivals, which isn't my favorite angle in April, but you have to go with what you have to go with. I think she'll like the shorter distance. I will point out that Fox Appeal, the filly that won her non-winners of 2 race last time on April 1st, was absolutely in hand and was just the handiest of winners and won off by herself. But DM now was a good distance away from Sapphire, who was well beaten here yesterday. But Sapphire ran a pretty nice race at like 47 to 1. Now, she was well beaten, probably 10 lengths, 12 lengths back of the winner at the end. But, for a race at that level, it looked like it came up fairly strong. Some of her other races, she's shown good speed. So I'm going to take a shot with DM now over Oh My Oh. And my 3rd pick now becomes Linda Got Lucky. 6th race, 5.5 on the main track. Maiden $7,500 claimer. No scratches out of this one. And it looks like we are looking at what we used to call, I don't know if you used to call it this way in Hot Springs, we used to call it blinking lights, when you'd see a real heavy favorite like Hawktail. Yeah,
I'm a little nervous about this heavy favorite in some respects. Hawktail is my top pick. 2 third-place finishes at Fairgrounds, and then catches a sloppy track and finishes 2nd again at even money. Earns a really big buyer figure of 72. Can he duplicate that over a fast track? We'll see. But just on improving form, consistency, I mean, this is a horse, but it is a bottom-level maiden claimer. Regal Run comes out of a race that they went 21-3 and 44-4 at Fairgrounds, so I had to pull up the charts from that day and look and see, and there weren't many main track sprints, but this race was way faster than a classier race for early fractions. So Regal Run's going to be on an easy lead. A must use, because who knows how big a lead this colt may get in this race. Yeah. This race has produced 3 next out winners. The only negative I can see is this colt has terrific early speed. Why'd Steve give up so quickly on him? I mean, that down to 7,500 from a maiden special weight race with this kind of early speed. So, again, that's the negative as far as I'm
concerned. After one start, too.
Yeah, just one start. I think this horse will be claimed today because who doesn't think this horse might be a turf sprinter or something with that kind of speed? And then I went with Downtown Brown, who has been in and out, very inconsistent, but certainly on his best day, like the November 5th Remington race, maiden special weights where he's beaten just 3 lengths, runs that race back. He's in good shot. Been in special weight company the last 3. Again, a significant drop in class in here. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith right now in this top selection at even money. I'm losing faith the more I look at the other 2.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I take Hawktail as well. I mean, that Beyer fig just jumps right off the page at you from the March 24th race. As far as a Regal Run goes, one thing I might point out about Hawktail, the winner of that race that he comes out of, Windchill Czar, that was a Broberg as well. And Windchill Czar got claimed away from Carl. And you'll note it was 15 lengths from Hawktail back to the third. So the Broberg barn owned that race by a very wide margin. The other note about this race, because our picks are the same, Regal Run's Dam, Regal Nurse won 20 races, 20 for 47. Now, all claiming allowance types, 301,000. Yeah. Running and claiming allowance races at places like Penn National and places like that.
Yep.
So the Dam could run. Maybe not at the highest levels. Now, you talk about a dam that could run. On to the 7th race. A few years ago, there was a mare named Stop Charging Maria, who, if she hadn't come along about the same time as Beholder did, would have been an Eclipse Award winner. Stop Charging Maria won the Alabama, the Black-Eyed Susan, the CCA Oaks, the Breeders' Cup Distaff. But anyway, Stop Charging Maria has produced a filly by the name of Still Charging Maria, who is in the 7th race at a mile on turf. We're going to go to the video. In this race from Houston, late last month, Still Charging Maria opened up a pretty big lead. It was her first try on turf. She's the leader, yellow cap, purple silks. Now, Jedediah, who is in this race, has the white blinks racing into second. Now, Still Charging Maria has been in front pretty much throughout, opened up a fairly yawning lead, 2-3 lengths. Jedediah's coming after her here, but watch the filly on the outside. That's Gurkha Gold. She's real erratic and shying. Yesterday, Gurkha Gold finished first here, but was disqualified for misbehavior in the stretch. She beat Still Charging Maria, who was a pace-setting second in her turf debut. Still Charging Maria was able to beat Jedediah, who she's facing here today. I'm going with Still Charging Maria, a $1.9 million yearling. Asmussen's had her, for a while as well, and, we don't know what type she's going to be. The key question is, can any of them beat Flowers for KK? I'm going to take a shot with Still Charging Maria and see where it goes.
Yeah, I made Flowers for KK my least lock today. One, it was hard to find a lock, admittedly, but I really liked this filly. I mean, I liked her first start. Didn't break especially well, finished up really well. It's nice to know that the winner was 4-5 front runner for Brad Cox. To me, that tells me this was probably a terrific race. Bred, really to love turf, bred to go a distance of ground. It got Todd Fincher, I mentioned in the first race. He's going to win a ton of races. People might say, well, how about Aramia? He never rides Aramia. Well, he rode Laviolette in Houston with almost every single winner. So Laviolette doesn't come to Lone Star, so Aramia is the guy. And just off that one terrific sprint race, I think the rest of these are probably pretty ordinary maidens at this point, so that's the reason that I really like Flowers for KK. Jedediah just had troubles, as Jim pointed out, watching that replay. Has finished second twice. Nothing special with her. Steve's horse is going to make the early lead again, on paper at least, unless Flowers for KK coming off a sprint goes out with her. But I think Still Charging Maria is going to be the pace setter. And it continues to improve. She is very lightly raced and a beautiful pedigree, so maybe she'll go the distance here over this turf course at Lone Star.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting race. I'm really excited to see that race. And anytime you can see someone that gavelled for almost $2 million. It's pretty interesting.
Yep.
On we go to the 8th. Scratch Rick's original top pick, Halo Star. And much like I picked a horse that wasn't in your top 4 earlier on the card, that shows how wide open the racing is. I didn't have Halo Star in my top 4, although I did have him originally on my pick 4 ticket and had to adjust it. 8th race, 8.5 furlongs on dirt.
Yeah, I went with the entry of Broberg's entry, Sweeping Edge, and Tiz Showbiz. Tiz Showbiz loves the distance, has won 3 out of 8, a 15-time winner. It seems like Broberg does really well with this type. Comes off an allowance race or finished 4th, now back in for $5,000. Both halves of the entry can win this race. The 2, Rocco's Wheel for Asmussen. It's interesting looking at the stats. Steve's having a really good start to this meet, but every time I picked him, he's lost. I mean, I was looking at the PPs, I said, man, he's had a disappointing meet so far. That's probably why I'm not picking enough winners, and he is having a good meet. That's weird, isn't it? You pick a trainer. If they don't win for you, you assume they're not having a great meet.
Exactly.
But he's winning when you're picking him and when I'm not. That's obviously what's going on. So he's plenty good enough, dropping to 5. I mean, the last time he dropped in for 5,000, he was at Lone Star Park, and he won by nearly 7 lengths. And then let's go to the 4, Close to Midnight for Luca Raleigh. Finished second in both starts for 5,000 at Houston. Experienced 2-turn runner, and his running style I like. He's not a closer. He doesn't have to have the lead. He'll be in a good stalking position.
Yeah, I think you could really take the top 4 or 5 in this and jumble them up, and you can go a lot of different ways. I went with Rocco's Wheel. I just always have been a little partial to him. A lot of respect for the Broberg entry, but I moved Close to Midnight up to my second pick. It's been a while since he won a race. It does show up on my PPs, though. August 11th of 19 was Close to Midnight's last win, but likes the distance, likes to drive fast track. But, Rocco's Wheel, old class horse, just like Tiz Showbiz. I mean, class, maybe pushing it a little bit, but, hard knocking, big earning, veteran. You got to love those types. So I went with Rocco's Wheel in a close call over Close to Midnight with the entry 3rd. And don't sleep on Pompeiano. He appeared to hate Sam Houston Race Park this winter. He had a dreadful winter down there, but Pompeiano really seems to come to life here. At least he did when he was trained by Ernesto Torres. But now he's with Gustafson, one of the top barns. So you got to figure that Pompeiano is going to wake up. And he has run some huge races on this strip.
Yeah, we got 9 and 10-year-olds as the top 2 choices.
Yeah, how about that?
Which, says a lot about the horsemanship of the trainers with those horses.
Yep. On to the 9th. Scratch the 5 Busy Legs and the 7 Gray Storm. And allowance, Colts and Geldings. 3 years old in this one at a mile.
Yeah, the 8 Bobby Brinkley. I made him 6-5. He really loved this track last year. He took a lot of money from me in his career debut. I remember back in June, I was talking about this horse training so well, and Jim probably didn't pick the horse because he doesn't know the training of it, so he thought he was giving me a winner that day, but he didn't.
I took him.
Okay.
I took him and watched him walk out of the gate and get hammered at the start and come flying late.
Man.
I picked a lot more favorites last year.
But anyway, he won by 10 here is our point. And then he runs in open race, 2 starts back a mile, finishes second. That's a good race. Into a stake, a restricted stake, the Groovy there, and a sprint tune-up for today's race, and finishes second once again as a 3-2 favorite. Just really seems to like this track at Lone Star Park. Has a slight talent advantage as well. So we'll take Bobby Brinkley over the 6, Tulgali. Who had not raced in 6 months when he ran at Houston, going this distance at this condition, took the lead, tired a little bit. I mean, that's a perfect running line for a horse that needed the race, should improve. Blinkers off for Asmussen, which is a 22% move for him. I'm a big fan of blinkers off. And then the 2, Blings Bellwether for Caldwell. A good debut at a mile, winning. They decide to cut back, I guess, because of the stake opportunity in the Groovy, finishing behind Bobby Brinkley, but finished a credible 4th. You could make a case this is a better distance for this gelding, and he drew inside his primary rivals.
I like Bobby Brinkley as well. I mean, certainly remember those races last year, and, he is definitely clearly the one to beat. Octogali is interesting to me. I mean, his sire, Protonico, was a really nice 990-some-odd thousand winner, won the Ali Sheba at Churchill. This was the first winner sired by Protonico. I'm curious to see how he runs, but I have him slotted second. And First Avenue has a couple of mile tries under his belt, 3rd, and Blings Bellwether 4th. Interesting race there. And now on to the 10th, back to the turf, 7.5. Scratch the 5, Connectivity, and scratch the 6, Kona Katie, and also scratch the 8, Catch the Devil.
Yeah, that leaves me with the top pick of the 10, No Mas Tequila for trainer Alan Milligan, who trained this horse through most of 2020. Karen Jacks had this 4-year-old filly at Houston. You can see some really good races, 2 stake place finishes, and then last time out at this condition, steadied early, wide through the turn, deserves another shot in there as the beaten even money favorite last time out again at Houston. The 9 is Martz's May, who, again, comes off a really good race, has finished second in consecutive races on turf at Houston. And those, curiously, were the first 2 races of her career. Either loves turf or loves Scott Young as its trainer, because Scott does a phenomenal job. And 2 really good races near the lead. Generally speaking, we believe that Lone Star's Racing Service favors speed a little more than the one at Houston. So Martz's May, to me, is very dangerous and could prove difficult to catch. And the 1, Happy Sonrisa, who won back-to-back races at Fairgrounds. Maybe we can make an excuse for that last start, since it was softer turf course and at 1 mile and 1/8. Now a more preferred distance in a firm course.
You know, I really like Martz's May in here. All due respect to No Mas Tequila, who I've always liked. It's just, I might have picked No Mas, except I don't like horses quite that far wide going 7.5 on the turf. Now, that's not as big a deal now with 3 horses scratched inside of her, but had a very rough trip to No Mas Tequila last time, angled out in the stretch. I just wonder if the trip's going to be much better here. I mean, she's the type of filly that gets in behind them and is going to need some racing luck. So, close call for me, but I went with Martz's May, who's been really developing well. And I like to see this improvement when they step to a new surface. One thing about her, Scott Young, I believe it was Scott Young, had that horse yesterday, War Falcon, that we wondered if he would have run at Houston and then gone to Prairie and worked and then come down here. Well, Martz's May did the same thing. So maybe Scott Young took a string up there, get ready for their meet, which opens up in a few days, and then did a U-turn and thought, well, there's races at Lone Star we can go to instead, because this horse shows up with a Prairie work as well, which is, we wondered if that was
we did
something amiss. And then my 3rd pick was Scratch Connectivity, so I haven't had time to rework it. So my 3rd pick's the entry, the entry as well. All right. I actually kind of like Raging Gold Digger a little bit more than Happy Sonrisa. I don't know why. I can't get past the 37.25 length. I know there were problems and excuses and all that, but so you got to respect the entry as well. All right. I think we wrapped it up. 10 races, beautiful weather again today. Our first racing week wraps up. Carryovers in a number of our wagers today. Watch for those on the screens. Thanks for looking in, and Rick, thanks for joining us, and good luck today, and have a good week.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm excited about it. Big fields today, and I'm excited about that. That's what drives Handle.
Yeah. Be a beautiful day at Lone Star Park, and good luck with your wagers.